Apartheid. Laws that I would argue were the most unjust and unjustifiable laws ever conceived. Laws that still bear harsh legacy on South Africa today, despite their repeal in 1989. So what was apartheid? Basically, it was a policy enacted by the white-dominated National Party of South Africa when they rose to power in 1948. The policy intended to establish and maintain white dominance by segregating the white minority from the non-white majority. It created separate public facilities for whites and non-whites, banned interracial marriages, and forcibly relocated some 3.5 million people. Under the pass laws, blacks had to carry identity cards at all times to be in white-only areas and were allowed in those areas for only a limited amount of time. If they were caught not wearing the ID, they would be arrested and imprisoned without a free trial. Under the Immortality and Mixed Marriage Act, it made it a crime for a white person to marry anyone else besides their race. Yet, what I found was that the relocation of apartheid was definitely the worst aspect of the policy. Under the Bantu Self-Government Act of 1959, non-white South Africans were forced from their homes in urban areas to the rural homelands. The homelands were basically isolated and impoverished communities that surrounded major cities. Millions of people were relocated and forced to leave their belongings, savings, families, and friends behind. During the relocation, many children were separated from their parents. For instance, this photo depicts some children who were separated from their parents during the relocation. They gripped the barbed wire fence that divides their assigned reservation from the rest of the world like criminals, despite their youth and innocence. Of course, there was extreme disapproval from the non-white community. In 1976, students refused to conform to the rules of the Bantu Education Act, which ordered the curriculum in black schools to teach Afrikaans, the tongue of the students' suppressors. The government responded to the uprising in the most brutish of ways. The students were merely peacefully protesting, and yet the police force still felt as if the use of vicious dogs was the appropriate manner to confront the conflict. Even though apartheid was repealed in 1989, inequality between blacks and whites still exists in South Africa. Whites still own most of the land, have most of the wealth, and have basically all the access to higher education, if education at all. Apartheid impoverished more than half of South Africa's non-white population, decreasing their standard of living and harshly affecting their political, social, and economic opportunity for lifetimes to come.